Hey there, I'm Jeremy. This is the Frame Mind podcast. So if you don't know me, I'm a therapist based in Dallas, Texas at my practice called Mind Above, where we talk about feelings and other cool things. So today on the Frame Mind podcast, we're going to jump right in and talk about toxic perfectionism. That sounds like counterintuitive words put together. Toxic perfectionism. We're going to talk about what it is to be a perfectionist and what is the cost of perfectionism in our daily lives. Stay tuned.
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah.
What is perfectionism? Perfectionism is an internal pressure we put on ourselves to achieve at this unrealistic, incredibly high standard, also known as perfection. Perfectionists can feel like this need to appear perfect all the time. It's frequently seen as a positive trait in our society because it often designates success. That success justifies the behavior. Reality, though, perfectionism is rooted in fear of failure and judgment and a strong sense of self-criticism. It becomes unhealthy. It makes us do things that are counterintuitive for our mental health concerns. So the dangers of perfectionism. Well, the dangers of perfectionism can include things that also self-defeating, such as thoughts and actions that absolutely make it harder to achieve the goals we set out to achieve. That includes things like believing nothing you do is good enough unless it's absolutely perfect, never being proud of your own work or your progress you're making, focusing on how to make things flawless, feeling worthless, afraid, even shameful. Perfectionism, well, it comes with another list of clinically indicative concerns that could lead to a disorder diagnosis such as anxiety, depression, obsessive compulsive disorder, insomnia, fatigue, procrastination, which is actually a form of perfectionism, self-harm, and suicidal risk. See what I did there? I corrected myself and kept going. Signs of perfectionist. Well, all or nothing. Perfectionists view situations in extremes. A, B, black or white, and nothing in between. We take away degrees of severity towards progress. So an example may be you get asked a question that you're caught off guard by, and you didn't think you would have an answer for it in the best of your ability. And so you answer it. And even though you're correct, you tell yourself you were wrong and that it went terrible. High standards of perfectionists include you have to put 100% of your effort into 100% of the task in order to prevent failure. And you may even expect others to do the same. Ooh, that could be tough. Perfectionism often is linked to your self-confidence and self-worth, which is in regards to your accomplishments. So you enjoy validation from others, and you often sometimes can struggle to see others achieve and be successful. It takes the fact of joy away from your own experience. It can be challenging to trust others to complete tasks correctly. As a result, you want to take control of situations instead of delegating. Other examples can include your designated perfectionist can complete group assignments alone to ensure they get done right instead of evenly dividing work amongst the team. Ooh, I hit you, somebody. It got you there. Vexation. You often will make mistakes even when they're small. You'll take those smallest mistakes and view them as failures. Procrastination and avoidance. So perfectionists may put off tasks or not complete them all and if there is a potential for failure. And that instead leads to a focus on tasks they know to be completed perfectly. Excessive time consumption. So as a perfectionist, we take longer amounts of time completing tasks compared to the average person in order to make sure that work is perfect. So another example of designated perfectionist, well, it could be spending 20 minutes writing and rewriting a message to someone that only had a couple sentences because you wanted to make it sound absolutely perfect and not just be good. Sometimes it leads to a sense of being never finished. So you struggle with determining when there's something that you should be done with it, as opposed to continuing on and looking for areas to improve before actually revealing that the task to others. And the task is not complete unless it's absolutely perfect. So how do we overcome your perfectionism? Well, overcoming your perfectionism may take time and effort, but it's worth it. Stay positive. Focus on what is good enough already inside of you and what you find worthy in yourself. You could also pay attention to your thoughts that are all or nothing. So Being the best at everything is not required to receive love and support from your family and friends. Maybe you acknowledge that and you don't dwell on it. Watch other people, observe how others that create imperfect work and actually accept their actions as good enough and move on. Ask yourself, is it worth the acceptance being the negative? You can prioritize by really seeing what's important and crucial to get done and what isn't. Try skipping the more trivial and detail-oriented tasks like extensive list making and small organizational activities. You could do a cost-benefit analysis. This is something perfectionists might like. So think about what you're sacrificing to satisfy your perfectionism. Social life, personal relaxation time, sanity. What about your sense of perfectionism that's obsessed on your perfectionism? Is it worth that kind of perfectionism? Yes, that was purposely done. So, anti-perfectionist strategy. Psychiatry and behavioral science tells us that we can use 4 steps that were founded by David Burns to clinically identify, called RACE. So here's the acronym: RACE. R, recognize perfectionistic ideas that are all or nothing thinking, fixation, and control seeking. A, aiming for perfection instead of look for other goals to achieve. C, check for underlying fears that they're like judgment and failure. E, expose yourself to the fear. Expose yourself to the fear. Let go. Don't be afraid to try. So I hope this was helpful, and I hope it gave you some good information and advice to seek out how to adjust your perfectionism. And as you address your perfectionism, also give yourself the opportunity just to practice kindness. And that kindness doesn't mean that you are going to be some aloof person whose head's always in the clouds. You get to be realistic. Don't worry. Anxiety and worry, they occur, and that's okay. With perfectionism, though, we don't allow ourselves the absolute joy of it being good enough. If we can find something good enough, we can put it to bed and move on. We have to find a way forward. And as we find our way forward, that allows us to be and feel better than we did before. And it also allows us this release, and it takes the tension off of us when we can absolutely feel good about the work or the thing that we are doing and involved with. Also, too, imagine going to work and other people getting an opportunity to do tasks that you often take on top of the other work you're doing. Life hack, as you can call it. That would be great. Perfectionism doesn't make you have to be a perfectionist anymore. You can address it. You can face it. And if it feels like it's too much for yourself, check out some great books. Check out online. There's some awesome resources out there. Also, you could talk to a mental health professional. Find somebody that helps you address that sense of perfectionism. Earlier, I mentioned that procrastination is a form of perfectionism. Here's where we're going to blow your mind on that. Procrastination is built in a sense of fear of messing up, of not accomplishing. So we will put off tasks or things that we need to do because we're so afraid of it not being perfect, we'll wait till the last minute. Procrastination may lead to a sense of success for some because you can wait to the very last minute, but it's also unnerving when you sit around and you wait and you finally get to that thing you need to do, and you have that Hail Mary experience where you're trying to make it, and it can lead to that sense of all or nothing. So perfectionism has many diverse aspects, but the biggest thing we want to take away from it is we don't have to be perfect all the time. We can be good, and we can be good enough. And that allows us a sense of belonging and a sense of awareness and a sense of existing as we are. That's such a relief when we think about it. I hope you guys have a great week, and I hope you enjoyed this, and stay tuned for more. Thanks.